Appreciate having that trash can.
That's what you get.
Yes,
See?
that's what I get.
Thanks, Victoria, for that.
All right.
Why are you all standing up?
Sweet. Good afternoon, everyone. We'll get started here for our work session scheduled today. We'll review for Thursday, our city council meeting. We have roll call by Ms. Shoup, Jessica, and invocation by Reverend Deacon Dorothy Goodwin of St. Stephen's Episcopal Church. Pledge of Allegiance by Councilwoman Jackson. Got it? Yeah. Thank you. Item number 1, Councilman Kilmurray, and we have awards and presentations. Senator of Life Award by Chief, and Don, you'll be here as well?
Yeah, I'll fill him in, but yeah.
Okay, all right. Gotcha.
It's a joint presentation.
It's a joy. Thanks, Chief. Also, we have City Manager report, sir.
Thank you, Mayor McCaw, members of the council. Per Councilman Kilmurray's request, you have my full procurement report that I get every couple weeks. The one that's a particular note is the first one, which is the Julio Cesare pavement replacement project, which is a rather large street maintenance project, and those bids are due on June 2nd. So by your next meeting, we'll have a pretty good idea how much that's going to cost and when that's going to go. Just a couple of other items of note. Last week, we had a meeting of the Cochise County Tourism Economic Council, and the subject was regarding the county pulling out of that group. They were contributing about $34,000 to it, so we wanted to get a sense from the rest of the cities that are involved as to whether or not they wanted to proceed under those circumstances, and they have indicated that they do so far. So we'll probably have to make some budget adjustments, so you may see that change in the budget at a later date, depending on how we proceed with that. There's a grant that's necessary for future marketing. So anyway, I'm pleased that the rest of the group wanted to meet, and we'll just continue on, with the effort as long as council feels that's appropriate. And then the other meeting of note was we had a meeting of the Upper San Pedro Partnership Advisory Commission, which hadn't met for like 2 years. So. And prior to the meeting before, it hadn't met the year before that. So, and again, the discussion was what does the future of that particular group and the Upper San Pedro Partnership look like going forward? And subsequent meeting with Fort Huachuca representatives, they'd like to look at some streamlining, I guess, of our whole water organization efforts, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, but that'll take some work to get that accomplished and changes in agreements. So taking a look at that as well. So a couple of large items we're working on here as well. So, and that's all I have right now, Mayor McCaw.
Thank you, sir. Questions, comments for our city manager? Proceed on. We have item number 2, Councilwoman Landry. Any discussions for item number 2? None. We have item number 3, staff report. Mr. McLaughlin, sir.
Mr. Mayor, members of council, Thursday's public hearing represents the final step in this year's annual election planning process. We developed a plan according to our citizen participation plan, starting with a broadly disseminated notice of funding availability. Then the Neighborhood Commission reviewed and recommended the grant amounts. You held a public hearing, invited the outside agencies to present their requests, which led to the drafting of the annual election plan that was presented to you at a subsequent meeting. The draft plan was put out for a 30-day public comment period. No comments were received during that time frame. There have been no material changes between the draft annual election plan and the final that will be presented to you on Thursday. The funding allocations remain the same. The resolution essentially authorizes staff to proceed to submit the plan to HUD for their 45-day review. With that, I'll answer any questions.
Thank you, sir. Any questions from the dais?
No question, just, I mean, this, obviously, it's a lot of work that goes through that every year, and I appreciate that. I appreciate the public involvement and people that spread the word on the availability of these funds and how every year it's a little different,
Yeah.
right? We have some people that know about it and obviously want to come and get some assistance if they can, but I love that the word is getting out there and more people are, will be a challenge moving ahead because we're not getting more money, but the fact that the word is out there that people come in and apply for it, and we get to help a different kind of demographic every year. I like that part.
Mr. Mayor, on a side note, Blake Fisher will be standing in on Thursday. I'll be attending a joint meeting with the county's Development Services Department to review with the contractor community proposed updates to the building codes.
Okay, excellent. Thank you, sir. All right, no more questions. We'll go to item number 4. And we have staff report. Mr. Salina, are you on the line?
I am.
Sir.
Thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of the City Council. Thank you for allowing me to appear remotely. I'll see you on Thursday. The first resolution from the Sierra Vista IDA involves the issuance of a charter school revenue bond for a charter school here in Arizona. Enterprise Schools is acquiring its 2 existing schools. It has just become a nonprofit corporation. It was previously a for-profit corporation, but has been the longest continuous run of an A+ charter school in the state of Arizona. So they are looking to acquire the 2 facilities that they are currently leasing and provide for additional money for expansion. The bonds will be unrated, but publicly sold by Robert W. Baird and H.J. Sims, but only to qualified institutional buyers or accredited investors. As a reminder, the bonds of the Sierra Vista IDA are not a pledge of the credit of the IDA or of the city. Instead, they're the sole financial obligation of the borrower. And there is no financial obligation by the city or the IDA for these bonds. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Any questions? Yes, sir.
Hey, Mr. Mayor, just a comment. It finally sunk in from several conversations with Mr. Lindy about why we actually vote on these things. And it's not as dumb as I initially thought it was. It's not just some rule that the legislature's given us. It's actually an opportunity. This is our IDA does us justice in sending viable options to be approved, but it puts a kind of a political eye, and this is the last public eye that goes on these things. For example, if there is something politically sensitive, culturally sensitive that's coming through, and we just rubber stamp it. So it's important, at least for me, to be reading those and understanding what we're voting and what we're supporting on. Even though there's no risk, and there's no risk to the city, we actually have an obligation to look at these and make sure it's something that, we approve of whatever this bond is buying. In this case, it has to do with education. So does the next one. So it's all good. Anyway, thanks for the extra explanations over the last couple of meetings, Mr. Salina. That's all I
My
have,
pleasure,
Mr. Mayor.
sir.
Excellent. All right. And we're going to, Mr. Salina, we're going to item number 5.
Okay, this is another revenue bond for a charter school here in Arizona. This is a refunding of 3 different prior bond issues, 2 from the Pima Industrial Development Authority, and the most recent one from the Sierra Vista IDA, all of which are currently outstanding. They are looking to refund all of those bond issues from 2015, 2019, and 2022. Again, the bonds will not have an investment grade rating, but will be publicly sold only to accredited investors or qualified institutions. Same limitations. Again, the city is not on the financial hook. As indicated, this is approval of the city is one of the steps in order to achieve issuance of the bonds for the IDA. Happy to answer any questions.
Questions? Thank you, sir. We'll see you on Thursday.
Oh,
Thank you. I look forward to it.
Mr.
Take care.
Selenia, sorry,
Vice Mayor.
we have a, thank you. We have a planning and zoning meeting following this meeting tonight, so I won't be at we have another IDA meeting tonight. another bond, I think. So just heads up if I'm not there.
Okay, I appreciate, thank you for the heads up.
Thank you.
Any questions you want me to ask or anything?
No, yeah, Dimitri's normally good about keeping me informed. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. See you on Thursday.
All right, take care. Goodbye.
After that, we have call to the public and comments from the council. Comments and requests from the council. On tonight, we have a couple of presentations. Our first presentation is our balanced budget presentation. Hey, Jen, thank you for the book.
Really? Thank you.
Read all of it?
Yes, I did. Actually, well, 3/4 of it.
Very good, very good. Mayor and members of the council, this presentation is a quick update on the rest of the balanced funds or any changes made from the last presentation. There haven't been too many big changes since the last one. The information in the presentation should match your tentative budget book that you received on Friday. So all the funds have been balanced, and so far the total balanced budget is $139,997,354. This number will definitely change before the tentative budget vote. As you've heard, there's already changes that I need to make. I already have, also the League of Arizona Cities and Towns updated state shared revenue numbers are still pending. So we'll keep that in mind, and all projections will still continue to be evaluated as we get closer to the tentative budget vote. Also, all projects that are not expected to be completed by the end of the fiscal year can also be added to the end. There have been no changes to the general fund and capital improvement fund and transit since the last presentation. So the highway user revenue fund is balanced with no changes from the last presentation. The capital remains the same as the last time. Are there any questions on the HER fund? The grants fund is balanced as well. So personnel requests in the grants fund includes the fire department's SAFER and AFG grants for 3 additional firefighters. O&M consists of PD Ops, the local border support, mental wellness, travel and training, forensic computer software, ACO spay-neuter program, fire department's AFG grant continued, fire specialized supplies, which includes like car seats, helmets, and some training materials and safety equipment, and then the CDBG projects. Here's a list of the capital projects in the grants fund. And then I meant to add the city match column. So the only 2 projects that have a city match in this project list is the light system for the emergency vehicle travel, and that's going to be $15,111. And the Garden Canyon Linear Park restrooms, and the city match is $30,000. So the $45,111 is transferred from general fund. Any questions on the grants list?
Question,
Yes, sir.
FY27 fire department grants, does that cover the presumptive cancers that we've already been talking about for the current FY? Is that projected into that FY?
Yes.
It is, okay.
Any questions? Okay. Airport fund. So there have been no changes to the airport fund capital list since the O&M personal and capital presentation at the end of April. Again, the city matches line for the pavement rehabilitation, the city match for, within the $450,000 is $11,250. For the pavement presentation project runway, of the $50,000, the city match is $2,235. The new connector taxiway of the $120,000, the city match is $5,364. And of the airport sewer and communications project, the city match of the $8 million is $886,666. So out of the $11.5 million spent on the projects, the city would pay $905,000. Yes, sir.
And when you say the city matches, that's specifically from the Airport Enterprise Fund, not from the general fund, right?
The airport special revenue, yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes. Any questions on airport? Sewer fund made small adjustments to their O&M to balance their fund. They included a couple capital projects. So what was added was the EOP solar facility, which has $1 million in grant and then $1 million in rebate. The added EOP auto samplers, that's per the department request. The new quote for the sewer siphon inspection, it was reduced from $250,000 to $75,000. And then the truck was added from the vehicle list to complete just sewer's capital list. Any questions?
What was the small O&M that came from the general fund? How much?
It was enough to cover the auto samplers, the $30,000,
Oh, so about
and the
30,000.
truck. Yeah. Normally they take it from infrastructure maintenance,
Oh, okay.
and it matches closer to what the actuals are for FY26.
Thanks.
The refuse fund changed slightly from the last time. The new dumpsters was reduced from $40,000 to $20,000. This is offset by revenue. And then the side loader truck was added from the vehicle list that was separated out from earlier. Any questions on the refuse fund? Pretty short presentation. There weren't too many changes from the last time that we presented these funds. So you have your tentative budget book that was already given to you guys. I know you already finished them. And then the next step is our 101 council meetings. Any questions on the balanced budget? Yes, sir.
Jen, one last question. So what I sent you on the email we talked about in the hall, you're going to give us a breakout of the top line number because it's 10 million above the top line amount from last year. So just an explanation of how much this more or less the city's paying versus more or less that we're getting through grants and other funding, right?
Yes, sir. We'll have that council inquiry to you by Thursday.
Great, thank you.
Oh, yes, go ahead, I'm sorry. I'm looking at yours.
Since the state hasn't adopted a budget yet, do we have to, like, how long can we go before we have to come back and retweak these numbers?
Mayor McCaw. Mayor, our Vice Mayor Flowers, great question. Right now, the way the budget is going at the legislature, it's hard to say whether it'll be done by June 30th or not. And of course, we have a tentative budget scheduled for your council meeting. I think it's the 27th or
June
something.
25th.
Yeah. Oh, there it is. Yeah. Oh, 25th. So there is a strong possibility you may be voting on your tentative budget prior to the legislature actually having a balanced budget at the state level. What does that mean for us? What it means is that our state share revenues, any revenue changes, and they have happened before at the last minute, could impact us. Now, we can always revise the numbers down for the final, but we can't go over if we get, the surprise of surprises, more money coming in. But if it's less, then we'll have to make some adjustments on some projects or some of the things we do, and just not spend that money and point that out to you guys, prior to your final budget resolution. So it's a possibility. Hopefully not. We haven't heard anything yet.
Our the latest 5 million for BSC, that was in there, the one that that we just got.
Was that in the HERF list, the BST,
BST
Yeah.
Phase 1 and 2 is included in,
The
yes.
one that we just got from Congress,
the
right?
third one,
Or the 20 million?
No, this is the 5 million
or the
that,
second?
I have one for 4,022,000 and one for 7 million included in. I believe you're referring to Phase 2.
okay.
Yes, it's
Yes,
phase
it's
two.
in there,
You're right, okay. Thank you.
of course.
Other questions? Jen, thank you. Thank you so much.
Mayor McCaw, I just want to say, getting that book out is a large production. And Jen and Rochelle have put the book together, and it's a big job. So I just want to thank them for that. And And of course, on the calendar, you see the actual formal budget work sessions on the 16th and 17th, which should be in your calendar and will be when we update it. Those meetings are kind of more to, see if, if there are any public participation or anything to come out for us. Obviously, you've had a number of budget work sessions already this year, so we're trying to make it as public as possible. So hopefully at that time, one or two meetings, any other changes will come up and we'll let you know.
Thank you so much. Any other questions, comments from the guys on budget, balanced budget? All right, we'll proceed on to our Public Art Master Plan by the Sierra Vista Humanities and Cultural Diversity Commission. Good afternoon, ladies.
Hello, everyone. My name is Judy Wand, and I am a member of the Arts, Humanities, and Cultural Diversity Commission. And I was the chair of a committee of two with Anastasia Dean, who's with me. We looked at the Arts Vista Plan, which was prepared some 30-odd years ago. We redacted its significant page numbers down to a more realistic view of what is going on. And we prepared a very, very short presentation for you today. We have combined with the Cultural Diversity Commission, so we are now two commissions working as one with 5 members. So our first slide shows you our revised mission statement. To foster and advocate for the enhancement of increased community appreciation, opportunities, collaboration, education, and involvement in projects dedicated to arts, humanities, and cultural diversity. Our purpose, our scope. Creating public art will shape the city's development, strengthen both visual and physical connections within the community, and serve to create venues and opportunities for art and multicultural interactive projects. The outcomes that we hope for: increased venues for art and cultural events, to create a sense of community, to provide for social and cultural interaction, and to create beautiful and welcoming public venues, parks, municipal buildings, etc. Funding. Funding sources have diminished over the last several years. Therefore, our commission strongly urges implementing a 6% surcharge on hotel stays as an additional source of income to support public art projects of all considerations. We feel that this is important at this time because our budget has decreased and we're taking on more activities. We also feel that having a surcharge at a hotel brings money from outside the city, so we're not supporting ourselves, we're asking for additional income, not just from the taxpayers. The major advantage is that money would come from outside the community, placing less stress on our own government to fund these projects. Additionally, beautification would encourage tourism and returning visitors. So that is, to summarize, what we've been working on for the past couple of months and what we wish to do in order to be able not only to grow, but to continue to provide our community with opportunities for community interaction and community appreciation. Thank you. Is that all we do?
Oh, you guys can
Thank
stay.
you.
You can stay
Yeah.
up there for a minute. Yeah. So we can interact. Yeah.
Thank you so
We're
much.
practicing dance. That's part of Arts and Humanities.
Lady. Any questions from the dais?
I just want to make a comment.
Yes,
and
ma'am.
then they this commission has worked so hard on revamping the public art master plan. If you had an opportunity to read it, and are you still taking feedback on anything in here? I don't know if it's like set yet, or if it gets set.
Oh,
after we
nothing
look
is
at
set.
it.
Absolutely nothing is set.
But it was over 30 years old, so it was much needed. And we were still referring to the old one in the general plan, so I just want to give them a shout out because this was probably hours and hours and hours. It's a lot of work, and they really took their time, and I think they did a great job. They're already creating a sense of community and venues for art and cultural events in the past year, and like we saw most recently with the chalk art at the West Fest. And I think those are extremely important in making a place special and bringing people together and memorable occasions. So I just wanted to thank the Arts, Humanities, and Cultural Diversity Commission for working so hard this past year and revitalizing that commission.
Thank you.
Going through a renaissance, as you can see. And also to touch on the request for hotel tax. And we had discussions about this, and I was like, you can ask the council for whatever you want. But I did get a little more information, and with speaking with the mayor and our city manager this morning. I don't know if he still has this information, but there's a couple things that prohibit us from doing just that. Do you have that law information?
Yeah.
Still, yeah. And we just learned about this morning. Yeah.
Do you want me to read them off?
Yeah, if you don't mind
please?
sharing it with
Sure,
them.
okay. This is Arizona Revised Statutes, Title 9-500.06. To be, a city or town shall not increase the fees on hospitality businesses in any year by an amount that exceeds the amount of any other increase in the consumer price index compared to the average of the last 5 years of the consumer price index. And then Section D, for the purposes of subsection C, expenditures by a city or town for the promotion of tourism include direct expenditures by the city or town to promote tourism, including but not limited to sporting events and cultural activities. And then the main one was here, it has to do with, sorry, I can't find that one right now, but here it is. Discriminatory transaction privilege tax means any transaction privilege tax imposed by a city or town on hospitality industry businesses that is above the transaction privilege tax rate imposed by a city or town equally on all businesses subject to a transaction privilege tax. So in a sense, then we are discriminating against hospitality businesses by having a special tax levied on them over and above what we do.
Thank you. I couldn't remember how it was worded, but I wanted to give that to them. But we also discussed how we used to have that 1% with capital projects, and I don't know when we'll have the next big capital project, but that's something we're gonna look at, and I'll update you more when I see you at the next meeting. But yeah, thank you. You did a great job.
Thank you.
And I don't know if the other council members might have questions for you.
No questions. Just, I mean,
Other people?
with the state tax thing, this is something that's not unheard of. It's other. I mean, the state of Arizona currently doesn't have any legislator in favor of it, right? So our state legislators would have to be the ones to change that. So it'd be up to us when we talk to them, when we see important projects like this or tourism, right? How other state legislators have done that for their state to say, hey, to pass the legislations where it allows to whatever the percent tax is to go towards things like tourism, because again, it does not, like Mayor Flower said, it does not go towards like our local people, right? I'm not gonna, when I go to a hotel, I'm not, if I pay a few percent more, I'm not gonna look at that. It's not gonna keep me from staying somewhere. And it's not, we're not taxing our local people. It's, yeah, sure, local people will stay in a hotel sometimes, sure, but that income comes from people that are gonna come stay in our community anyway. And it all feeds back into, that money going back towards art projects, tourism projects, that keeps that that funnel flowing. So I think it's important that hopefully Arizona will get there, maybe one day soon, to support projects like this. Because like you mentioned in your presentation, like the budgets are getting smaller and smaller when it comes to things like art projects, which is unfortunate because I think they're amazing for communities. When I travel and I see, some of the craziest things in the world, like the biggest rocking chair or something, everybody wants to go see that, right? And but look, we talked about this before, like, we're the hummingbird capital of the United States. We should look like it, right? So, but thank you for putting this together and sitting in the meetings with you guys. I love hearing your guys' ideas, and when it comes to funding, it's important, obviously, that we support commissions like this. And I know historically, you really haven't got a lot of help, a lot of support when you've come to council and things like that years past. I mean, this thing goes back to 1990, right? So thank you for bringing it up to the current era, and hopefully we can work together and get some more of these projects supported and funded somehow. I appreciate the presentation very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am?
Okay. Yeah, I appreciate you coming in and presenting, and to find out that you took a larger document and you made it into the smaller one. And I really like how there's examples in here and how you broke down the various roles and things like that. I think it's really nice document here, the art master plan. And I do love to see the various things that have kind of happened over the years here in Sierra Vista with the different murals and the different artwork and the different things that kind of that bring people together. Because when you go and you visit other communities, like in Tucson or different places, sometimes you'll see like some public art and you want to stop and take a picture of it, or with your friends or whatever. And it kind of draws you in, or certain neighborhoods. Kind of like when there's like Christmas lights that happen and people have these different routes that they go through to see those. When there's art like that, I think it really it gives you a sense of pride in your neighborhood and your community. So I think things like that, even though they're not necessary, but they're necessary for the human spirit. You know what I mean? And so I really love that people are passionate about that, bringing that to our community. So thank you for all your work for this.
Thank you.
Brian?
Yeah, I was just gonna say use the exact same word, was the passion you show for for lack of better words, beautification of our city is apparent, and I commend you for that. It's always in the little details, and thank you so much for showing such an interest and being passionate about it. Thank you.
Any other comments? Yes, sir.
Sorry, Lise, I haven't been coming to the meetings lately. This is one of the ones I enjoyed going to your commission session. So presuming the 6%, Chuck, should I understand that that's actually all mute, or is it still a certain amount?
That would be moot, currently with the, the way the statute reads.
Okay.
So,
Really
but
nothing to do with the tying it to the consumer price index?
no, I think that main one is the discrimination one. Yeah. Now there's nothing. Again, we had a mechanism called 1% art in public places. This was a number of years ago, and it was tied to bond issues pertaining to our public facilities. So some of the art you see, like on the library, public works building, those kind of things were funded by that particular fund. That kind of went away during tight times in the last decade, and there is nothing to prevent the council from budgeting funding for public art. That's not really the issue. The issue is raising the funds via taxes. So.
So actually, I'm sorry. The second part of my question is, one of the things I thought was missing in the written part was work that you're doing to raise, for example, grants and other alternatives to the 6%. So that's moot. We understand that. But what can the commission be doing, or are you already trying to raise money, for example, grant writing and other avenues to raise money for the beautifications of the city that's not associated with raising through tax dollars or taxation? Or
We had discovered that there was that 1% that was supposed to be coming back from capital improvement projects. And we said, well, how come we haven't been getting that? And then we found out that that had been rescinded. So perhaps that can be reactivated and/or perhaps even increased so that we get more money. When I first joined the commission, we were given an annual budget. We no longer are given that. So we're restricted. And again, we've grown because we're two commissions. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to do that. Hit escape, didn't work. The other thing is, as the city is growing, we have plans for 2 new parks. We have tabled a couple of motions to move ahead and do things because those parks are not ready for us to implement plans we have. So we need to have some money to be able to do that. So our goal is to find out how we can ask the city to help us. I do know that, I believe it was my first or second year on the commission, we had a major grant to paint the water tower on the West End. But that was a grant, but we didn't apply for that grant. And I don't know that we have the means to apply for grants unless the city wants to take on that responsibility to apply for grants to help us.
So my question is, could that be something you guys could take on to write those grants for the city and present them to the city? You understand what needs beautification and the research involved in finding where those grants are, what the available sources are. Is that something that the commission could take on?
If you want me to answer, because we talked about, they are talking about fundraising for the Cultural Diversity Fair coming. It's not going to call City Club. Greet yourself,
Sierra Vista.
Sierra Vista, and Gwen Calhoun is leading that. But they are able to fundraise, like you're talking about, and put it in their own special fund through the city. And that's what we did with the West End Fair for a number of years before it became the West Fest. And so that is something that they're looking at, but it's very premature right now. Like, they literally just start talking about doing that. And then, and the mural was, I think the water company helped pay for that, and Matt might remember that.
$10,000 grant.
CDBG grant.
CDBG.
Yeah, so, and it was an opportunity to include them in helping choose the artist.
Mayor McCraw and Vice Mayor Flowers, getting to Councilman Kilmurray's question, really probably the simplest way to handle, let's say, something specific, and I'll use Roadrunner Park for an example. You know, we have a budget for Roadrunner Park. We got it's $3 million, $1.5 million of it is a grant, and then we have our match in there. If the council wanted to choose to have public art as a part of that project, then it could come out of those funds then, and they could work, the commission could work on proposals for something that the council would want to approve. That's probably the easiest way to do it, at least on a project-by-project basis. So.
Yes, ma'am.
That's a comment. I think that's a great idea, Chuck. I mean, it's like what they're doing is a beautiful thing for the city. So I really believe we can find funds to help them to get this project moving forward.
Yeah, I
So
mean,
we
that's a
can make that
policy.
happen. I mean,
Yeah, that's a policy decision on your guys' part. Do you want public art to be a part of this project? And if so, you know, then we could set aside funds in the budget for that.
I think it's totally worth it.
Beautification's already in one of our, in the strategic plan for the city, so we already have the foundation for adding that from O&M funds. I don't want to say divert it. So would the idea be that the commission, so what role does the commission have in spending that money if it's allocated?
Well,
that's a question to anybody.
we would have to come up with, obviously, some art projects, plans, and need money to be able to get those moving and to facilitate them.
Yes.
You know,
Either
we're
for
we're
expertise
we're
or
5
supplies.
people who are volunteers.
Yeah.
So we don't have access to include everyone, to solicit funds and what have you. So we need support.
Go ahead,
Yeah,
sir.
and Member Councilmember Kilmurray, really the easiest thing to do is to task the commission with coming up with projects or options that the council could select from. You know, the money part is really the council's role to allocate to a project. Your role would be to recommend, you know, maybe a project or a couple of
We
projects.
have
Right.
lists and lists of projects that we would love to propose to you, so.
Right.
That
We-
would be,
And we can come up with more.
But what we would owe you is what projects would we like you to, to work on?
Exactly, and then we, as a commission, can help find the artists and interview artists and select artists that can complete the project with the monies that we have.
And your responsibility would be to vet the projects and bring them to council. This is what we want to do. Do we have money for it?
Yeah, and then you guys choose it, but we would have money in the budget, you know, for it, so let's say you wanted to do Roadrunner, you know, we could plus that up a little bit and set aside an amount for an art project.
You'd slice a portion
Yeah.
of that allocation.
Mm-hmm.
This is for, would it have to be tied directly to Roadrunner Park, or it could be citywide?
I think it's probably better if you did it on a project-by-project basis, and then you could pick and choose where you wanted the art and which projects you wanted to augment, so, and instead of a wider canvas.
The way it worked for the mural, the way it worked for the mural on the water tower, they interviewed many artists. There was a lot, and the artists brought forward their ideas, their concepts. They narrowed it down to 2 or 3, and then those final concepts came to the council to decide on the one that we thought best represented the city.
Okay. Nor would I expect the commission to write a grant. If there was a grant
Right.
proposal, obviously staff would support them in that effort.
And I do want to say that staff has been extremely supportive of the commission, and Emily's there for every meeting, and we have a great commission that keeps everyone punctual, in and out, and mission focused is what we say. So it's been very successful.
But you have a number of projects, Henry Jones Park, you have Roadrunner Park, we have some buildings or,
They do have
different.
a mural concept design, like a welcome to, or just the letters Sierra Vista with the components of what represents our city for the Henry Jones Legacy Park. But we're not there yet, so that's what she's talking about when they say tabled it, so we don't let it go. Next budget, we'll probably bring it forward.
But if the council would like us to include some money, in certain projects for that purpose, shouldn't be that big of a deal, really.
How do we go about that, Chuck, from a process point of view?
Well, the hardest part is an estimate, right? Art can be expensive sometimes. It doesn't have to be, but is $100,000 enough for public art for a project? That I don't really know, but if it was something around there, I'm sure we could figure that out.
Would it be something that we ask you informally to
Yeah.
earmark X amount of money from the O&M budget to go toward beautification?
Yeah, we would find the funding for that.
Then how does the council actually task them?
In the budget process, if you add the funds to the budget, then it's approved, then we just implement the process and ask for their help in vetting projects.
Councilman Rodriguez.
I think it just also includes things like the neighborhood commission as well, which if they have something that doesn't fall into a park per se, but it's in a neighborhood, and you're something that you want to do in the neighborhood, kind of like now there's money for like cleanups, for instance, right, Matt?
It could involve public art as well, up to $5,000. So it'd be on a much smaller scale than I think what they're currently contemplating.
But like I said, so it's not so tied to like a park. It's
Right,
this
public spaces.
intersection is this public space, but not a park.
That was just an example that she had.
Great job, ladies.
Questions? Ladies, thank you so much. I love the art on Canyon and Denham. Canyon and Denham, the water tower. Love the art on there. And in a great area, So thank you for all you do. Thank you for your presentation.
Thanks for listening.
Great job.
next item is our report.
Executive report.
Our
Okay.
council executive report, sir.
Thank you, Mayor McCaw, members of the council. You have your March and April executive report before you. Obviously, we have a number of items going on, especially what's exciting are the multi-use path projects that are being finished right now, and then some others that are currently being planned. We'll actually have a loop around the city with the one on the bypass. So it's been many years coming to do that, but it's great to be here to see that thing finally happening. I've told you about a number of issues pertaining to people in tight budgets, the fort, the county, and trying to hold together some of these groups that we've been working to hold together for a long time in important areas like water and economic development and tourism. So we'll continue on since I know that's the council's policy to support those things, and we'll try to keep them going as best we can, under whatever conditions come up for us. We mentioned too in my message here the fact that the legislature still has not completed its budget process and could have some implications for us. So hopefully that won't be, and we'll find out pretty soon. But that's the biggest thing we're waiting for is legislative action on the budget. So. With that, staff is here, and we're happy to answer any questions you might have about the report.
Comments? Guys? You'll have your comments for Thursday, right?
Oh, I mean, I can make them now.
Oh, man, what?
Go ahead, go right ahead,
Since
girl.
we're here. Yeah, so it's always great to have the executive report. It has a lot of really good information. So there's a few things that I wanted to just kind of highlight and shout out. First, in Public Works, retirement of Carl Schmoot, who completed his career with the wastewater section. So congratulations on his retirement, and we wish him the best in his future journey, living his best life. And then there was the Employee of the Year ceremony that was held for Public Works, and so I just wanted to name off the people that received Public Employee of the Year for their area or department or whatever. So overall Employee of the Year is Lacey Breckenridge. And they have a picture of everybody in there too, which I always love that picture of everybody with their awards. I think it's really important to celebrate people. So, and then for administration, Laura Kilberg, engineering, Diana Angulo Baldenegro, facilities, Sam Alamua, fleet, David Larson, refuse, Joe Dyer, streets, Rocky Wright, transit, Maria Luchwager. Right? Luchwager. Wastewater, Abel Sariñana, supervisor, Lacey Breckenridge, and then part-time, Bob Butterworth, who retired and came back to work part-time. So that's especially really cool to see. So I just wanted to shout out and congratulate them and thank them for all but the passion and things that they put into what they do, because that's what makes Sierra Vista good and great, is the people. And then continuing in Public Works and Wastewater, there was staff were recently notified by ADEQ. I'm not sure what that exactly stands for, but they received a bronze level award from the Arizona. There it is, right there, Arizona Department of Environmental Quality for demonstrating strong environmental compliance for the past 3 years in the Voluntary Environmental Stewardship Program. So I thought that was really, really cool to know, and just wanted to shout that out so people would know. I think that's pretty cool. 3 years, and then moving on, the last area I was going to shout out was for Sierra Vista Police Department with the Service with Honor Award quarterly winners. So I just wanted to kind of shout out the names here. The quarterly Service with Honor Awards for the first quarter of 2026, Corporal Nathan Stark, who has worked night shift officers throughout the quarter in fireman's marksmanship, and he maintained a virtual simulator platform to ensure that everybody had opportunities to improve on the skill set. Officer Alexis Thompson for showing exceptional dedication and investigative support with 2 felony cases during the quarter. One case was a molestation and the other was sexual assault, and both cases resulted in arrest of the offender. So I think that's super important to point out. And then also, Sergeant Tyrell Essery, Detective Matt Quinn, and Detective Phaedra Sparrow Garcia, they worked on the community response team to put together casework this last quarter, which resulted in the seizure of a lot of narcotics taken off the street. So shout out to them. And then one last thing that's it's not an executive report, but since we're talking about the police department awards and stuff, Officer of the Year, Monica Luna Gutierrez. So that was really cool that they recently had their first ever award banquet. So I thought that was really cool. So wanted to mention that since I'm here talking. And that's all I had for the executive report. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you, ma'am. Any others? Yes, sir.
Just had a few things to point out. We kind of covered it, but I like the write-up about the West Fest Arts Humanities Commission. Obviously, they brought the artist Victor Navarro, did that chalk art. It was amazing, and it wasn't on the street. It wasn't on the road this year. It was actually up on the sidewalk, so it was able to stay a little bit longer, so people could enjoy it there on the West End. So that was a nice touch that they did this year. The Adaptive Adults program. I can't say enough about this program. It's so well used. It's like there's like waiting lists to get in there. I'm sure for every event. There was a huge group at the last concert in the park, so I loved seeing them be a part of that. So just shout out to everybody that works in that thing, and that whole department there on that project, because it's much needed for our community, and I can't say enough good things about that. And then I like the update that yes, the splash pad is open. There is another splash pad next to it that doesn't work, but some people still gotten confused why that one's no longer in operation. There's a bigger one next to it where the other one was that works. It works fine now. There was a lot of work that had to be done in that park because of some tree root damage. Big surprise in Arizona, right? But I'm glad that that's open. It's getting warmer now, so I've passed by there and seen kids there often. So I'm glad that they're being used. And we do have some other stuff as we've talked about before, in other parks that we're moving forward on, not as quickly as everybody would like. And we've talked about why, obviously budget constraints, but some of those plans do consist of maybe a water feature in those other parks at some point. So I know we do hear a lot of feedback of why don't we have a big water park like Benson, things like that. So we do have one right now, and as we do develop these other park areas, those were some of the higher comments that we got for a lot of those things was a small water feature, whether that's natural looking or not. So just know that we are still continuing to talk about those things. And it's not just, we don't just blow that off. There's a really good write-up about all the stuff at the golf course. I really like that, step by step. All the projects going on done by Paradigm, so that was a good bonus here. The airport, that nasty helipad that was overgrown and now it looks really good. So Logan Miller, it seems like, was the one that did that. So great job on that. As always, all the things that are going on in our community. I love this because people always ask, what's going on at this intersection? What is this going? This, starting on page 35, really talks about everything that's going on in our community. If you see someone digging or whatever, it's probably there on page 35, so check that out. Then the last one here, traffic analysis. Obviously, another thing we get a lot of comments on. Why don't we have more traffic? Why don't we have it? We do have a traffic division. It's a whole one officer, but it's going to be 2 soon. It'll be the biggest one we've ever had, right, Chief? So 2 officers is the most officers we ever had in traffic division in a long time. So we hear you, we get it. The chief wrote out here that they're going to change their approach a little bit to have more officers available to report the traffic and stuff like that. It's not as easy as just snapping your fingers and saying, boom, we have a traffic division. You'll see the motorcycles out there. There's a Harley out there right now. Hopefully they'll have the BMW out there next. These were all donated. So we didn't go buy a BMW. We didn't go buy a Harley. They were donated. Although that wouldn't be a bad purchase, I don't think. But so those are coming soon, and it just takes time to get the officers trained. They're in training now, things like that. So we hear you, understand that there's a lot of traffic incidents people are worried about. But when you look at the data compared over the years, has it really gone up or not? Is the question that we always ask, right, Chief? And from what it seems like, it's just we have a lot more social media that reports on things than before. So it seems like there's a lot more than there was before. But if you look at the data, this spike isn't. There's not a big spike there, if I'm not mistaken. So thank you for really taking the time, Chief, to put all that stuff in there. And for the flock update, because a lot of people still ask about flock. What's going on with flock? Why is there new cameras in our community? Some of those new cameras are at private businesses like Lowe's. That's their private property. If they want to get in a contract with Flock, they can. That's their private business. That has nothing to do with the city. And what they do with their data is what they do with their data. So people have asked questions about that, but thank you for the big update on the Flock, how they've terminated the contract. They don't have access to it anymore. And also that LPRs obviously do serve a purpose. So looking forward, we're going to kind of figure out how we can still provide some of that service to our police officers, because I think it's important. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Any others? Thank you, sir, for your report. And we'll go to our next item. Is reports on recent trips, meetings, and future meetings.
Well, if you stay for one more hour, we'll have planning and zoning right here.
Planning and zoning. And before planning and zoning, we have cake from our Director of Fun, Ms. Laura. We are celebrating 70 years of Sierra Vista being established. We have cake and also wooden coins to
Yes.
pass out.
Wooden nickels.
Wooden nickels. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
So stay and please have some cake and water. So we have one meeting tonight. I have to go check on.
That's why I'm here.
Yes, ma'am. None other future discussion items and council requests, ma'am.
Thank you, Mayor McCaw. Right now, I'm currently just tracking your special budget work sessions, like Chuck mentioned. Those are June 16th and the 17th if we need them. It is a change from previous years, just so you're tracking. It's Tuesday and Wednesday instead of Monday and Tuesday. And then nothing else in particular on the schedule until July 7th, and then you'll have a presentation from Endeavors, which is a company coming in who will offer no-cost support and programming to first responders and their families. They're going to give a presentation, and staff are currently working on an MOU with them. And that's all, Mr. Mayor.
Excellent. Any more from the dais? Thank you so much. We'll see you on Thursday. Please have cake and water.